This is To Wit, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I'm Melinda Smith.
And I'm Christy Campbell.
Yes, you are. Look at us coming back and then taking a month to come back.
It's just it's really interesting. I don't know if people realize you really have to be in the right mood to record. And, we've talked previously about depression and certain things. And the day we originally were going to record, I just had zero fucks. And it was the weirdest, like, anxiety, guilt feeling of ditching out. And then, I mean, you're like, yeah, sure, it's fine. Let's do it soon. But then, then I also couldn't tell time one time. That was just
but it's our format. I mean, if it was just one of us and our format was like, I'm going to read you release notes or tell you my thoughts on it, I don't need to be in a good mood for that. I don't need to be in any mood for that. But like, we talk to each other and it would just be so weird if one of us was like, blah, 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 and the other person was like, yep,
yeah.
Cool.
So so we're flying into fall, and hopefully
I am so conflicted because I love summer. I love not wearing a coat or real shoes or any of that. So I am a little lamenting that it's done. I do love fall. I just wish it could be like fall to spring. Just skip the winter months. I used to tell myself all the time living here before Long Beach that the good thing about all the seasons is it makes me really love summer. That's what I told myself. Then I lived in a place where it was forever summer. It's a bunch of bullshit. I could live with forever summer all the time. I didn't love it any less. For me, I'm telling you, I didn't love it any less. And I still follow a couple Instagram accounts that are Long Beach. So now I've been like extra looking at them lately. And I was like, I miss California.
When I moved from, California to Texas and then to Boston, I feel like having actual seasons helped me appreciate spring more and like plants, I remember when, after snow was dying and like
after the long winter
and things started blooming and I was like, colorful flowers.
Look, signs of life.
I do think that's one of the things I say about why I like living in Charlotte is that there's like seasons, but not like capital letter seasons. You have said that it's like, it's enough that you don't feel silly doing fall things like you might somewhere else. But, it snows like once and the city shuts down for like 3 days for an inch of snow. But it's cold enough that you don't feel silly wearing scarves.
Yeah. I don't think it's that I hate winter. I'm fine through January because lots is going on. And it's cool when it's cold and the holiday. But it's like February to April, which is when we get a lot of the heavy, wet snow, that I want it to be spring. And Mother Nature was like, don't give a shit what you want. And
nope.
But really, it's that I don't want to put on 57 layers. But I have a good coat now. So I'm sorry. It's not going to be a big deal. It's really not. But like, I put on regular jeans the other day and I was like, why are these so confining?
My calves wanted to be free.
These are the jeans that I've loved. I've had them refinished. That's not a thing for jeans. Whatever. Restitched. Sure. And then I just don't love them, but I have jeans that have like the stretch in them. And I was like, yeah, that's my jam. I want these to feel like stretch pants. So the ones that I've loved for so long that I've had fixed over and over, they're dead to me. And they're going out to pasture.
One thing I think is kind of funny. I am currently in Texas where my parents and both of my siblings live. And I was helping my sister go through some clothes for some Marie Kondo time. And she has these jeans and like all of her jeans have holes at the top of the pockets. And I was like, what?
Oh, I know this one.
Why does this happen? And she's like, because you have a big butt. That's why.
Yes, because you pull them up. Yes.
So like literally every pair of jeans has holes in the same spot. I guess I don't check out my sister's butt. I didn't know she was rocking the badonkadonk, you know?
Cannot lie.
She's also much tinier than me, so holding up her clothes to see if she wanted to thank them for their service or put them back in the drawer made me feel like it was like child's clothes. But that's
Yeah,
all right. Then you can fit more of them in the drawer. It works out.
this is true.
Mm-hmm.
I just need like a pair of jeans, and I think I'll be set for the winter. I've got the pair that I love. And then, well, end of list. Okay, I have a pair that I love. Cool. So maybe like one other pair and I'll be good. Because I mean, I don't go anywhere. I don't need a lot of choices. Like I have plenty. I have like 5 shirts and scarf. Like it's fine. I don't go anywhere. Like I work from home. It's not like, you know what I mean? Like I don't need anything. I've got my t-shirts. I've got my hoodies. I'm
Okay.
golden. I just need pants that have a stretch. I don't know. What I don't understand is what past me bought those. Did past me like those? Did past me not want give in my arse or my hips? I feel like that's not a thing. When did past me not care about ass comfort? Like when? I don't understand.
I mean, but to be fair, you couldn't always get jeans that had some stretch as much that weren't like Wranglers or like Lee mom
Yeah,
jeans or something. So maybe you're just so on trend. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know. All I know is
Well,
that
we've managed
comfort
to talk about the
over all
weather
these
for
days.
about 10 minutes, which I think is pretty impressive.
Because we're old. Oh, speaking of what we talk about, all right, so in the very beginning, we did get to know each other. Then we did things I learned, kind of like our top segment. So I thought we could talk amongst ourselves or crowdsource what people would want here. Like ideally something, a little conversation engaging. That's why we did the what did I learn? What cool new thing have you done in Salesforce? For instance, I just learned about the lightning component on pages for a related record with an action, looking up more fields on your same page, but as a tab. I'll go into that more later, but like that kind of cool stuff. But what do people want to hear? Do we come up with a new segment? What do you
Mm.
think, friend?
It is interesting because I think a lot of people that we get feedback from talk about that they like the conversational aspect, but like, I mean, you also don't necessarily just want to like have it be a three-way phone call, I guess, in terms of
Yeah.
not talking about literally anything of substance. So,
And we do have guests coming up. We do have some like a list of people that have either asked to be on or that we've thought of. So that's going to be
mhm.
a thing again. Or we just, I don't know. I just feel like maybe we should at least have like, because we're going to talk anyways, like a little piece or a little nugget that's like, hey, let's have that be our little touchstone of, like we did before, when getting to know each other, or one thing I learned, or I don't know. We could put it out there for the peoples.
Maybe it could be like a someone we met or someone or like a tweet that got us thinking or something, like a
Mm,
tweet of the week,
hmm.
presumably from a Salesforce person. But
Oh, I like that. Speaking of Salesforce stuff, I say speaking of, like that's not what we do every day. Like, whoa,
well,
I
I
can't
mean,
believe you
yeah,
brought that up.
we're
Let me
really
tell you
good
what
at
I was
segues.
thinking.
So
Yeah. So I am not ho hum down when I say this. I'm definitely not like jaded or glib, but I feel like between like Trailhead DX, then they have DX boot camps now all over, which is still awesome because not everyone can make it to California. But then there was like that summit, and then there was that thing in Indy, and it all feels so like cluttered, or maybe it doesn't need to feel that way because I'm like, where there seems like there's so many events and cool, like get the word out to the people. But on the other hand, I'm like, but is that like diluting the funness of the events? or have I just put too much thought
I
into it,
think
or
not everybody
I don't
gets to
know.
go to everything. So I think there's still some variety, but also I think to me, this translates to everything in this day and age in that we know more because of social media. So, like, yes, they are ramping up events
True.
more, but also you know more people or follow more people that are now going to more things, and therefore you probably know about it more, right? Like to me, one I'm reminded of is the pre Dreamforce tour, where they basically like demo the content and get feedback. So, like, Mark is traveling the
Oh, yeah,
country.
yeah.
They've probably always
Yeah, he
yeah,
started that
they've
like 4
probably
years ago,
always done
right?
that or done that for a long time. But now I realize it
Yeah.
more, even though it's never come to Charlotte, because I see people taking pictures with him like on the road, right? So things like that
Huh,
where
yeah.
things might have already happened, but they're getting more exposure, I guess. But I think we're also in a niche where we go to a lot of things. So then I mean, like when I sat back to realize, like I went to like four different events this summer, even, you know?
Yeah,
So,
just the summer. Yeah.
and I'm going to Trailhead X and might also get to go to Dreamforce, which is amazing. So, but that's not necessarily everybody's experience, I guess. So, not everyone,
Yeah. Well, and the other events like that, like I guess if you're not going to Dreamforce and you get to go to like a summit, which I think was this recent one was for specifically designed for like newbies, that you get to see some of the people we don't, like Salesforce people, in the sense that yes, you can go to a Dreamin', but the exposure you get to maybe to like Salesforce curated content kind of thing, you don't really get that at the Dreamins. You would at like a
well, I
summit
think the
or a
recent
boot camp
summit
or
was
a
more focused on the job prospecting piece that they're working on with Ivanka. So I think it was maybe more
oh,
career
okay.
buildery, but I might have made that up. So,
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those, like, I don't have a bad or a good feel. I just, there's a part of me that feels protective about what we all get to see and do, and like don't dilute it. Don't go too crazy and have like there's nothing like I don't know if special is the right word to use because I feel like that sounds so like elitist. Like I get to go to Dreamforce, it's special. But like if there's an event every week,
but
I don't know.
globally,
I don't really know what I
right?
mean there.
Like,
You're right. Yeah,
I don't know. I
totally.
guess I think the other thing too is that I think we assume that Salesforce has all their ducks in the same row. And honestly, if you think about it, I'm sure it's like any other company. If you're
Yeah.
right.
Well, and it's
So
huge.
you probably have certain teams that are like, oh, we're going to focus on something, something. And that means we're going to do events, And so, or there's sales initiatives that are targeting certain verticals in certain cities, whereas, the community team is doing more general, right? So you've got like the
Yeah.
SMB people versus like in DC, their events get targeted more toward government stuff, right? So you've got a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
avenues that I think people are going down, and or they're doing workshops to specifically try to get you to buy certain things or to help you ramp up with things that you just bought as
Yeah, they have a lot to
for
sell.
sure. So, because I once went to like a
For
communities
sure.
boot camp in Atlanta because we were getting started with communities, right? And so it was, like 20 people. And this was, I think, even before Trailhead. But, just like the hands on trainings used to be, but it was in the Atlanta Pardot offices. So, um, some of that is just, I think, if you have a salesperson that's getting you to certain things, or I don't know. And some people probably live in cities that they never come to.
This is true.
So basically, I think you're wrong. Okay.
It's fine. I can be wrong.
Suck it
Let's
up,
move
Buttercup.
on.
I am curious about the thing you said you learned, though.
Yeah, I'm not telling it very well. So I have a colleague that recently left and passed on a huge client to me. And like on her last day, I was looking for something And, in the detail, there's the tabs like where you'd have related, and, it called out some custom tab name. And I'm looking at it. So I'm in the component and I was like, related list. But in action, I was like, I don't understand what's happening here, because I answered an email to this big client how I understood it. And she was like, ugh, that's not what they mean. So we got on the phone. I was like, I don't know. Like, it wasn't like I answered too fast and didn't read the whole email, which I do. I genuinely was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So if you create an action that's just update on the same object, doesn't matter, add the fields you
Okay.
want, and just have that. Now, if you hit the edit page, not related list, it's related record, and you can add the related record, which is like the action in the field, if I'm understanding that correctly. I need to go back and look. So she added it as a tab. So essentially what we were trying to accomplish is this record had a ton of fields, and it was like scroll, scroll, scroll. So instead of that, she took like a chunk of them and made them their own tab. So it looks like it's a related list, but it's just the same fields kind of popped onto another tab and shown through a related record as, but via like an action. So it was very interesting, very cool. I also learned, because I was trying to answer this, the clone feature will not operate properly because those fields aren't actually on the detail portion of the page. Even though they're kind of there, they're not. So we had to like bring them back and add them to the end of the record. But it was a whole interesting feature. And she had just learned it from someone the other way. So I'm trying to think of other use cases besides I've got scroll damage and I want to pop them up into their own
I think
tab.
this is how I thought Lightning tabs and pages were going to work in the beginning. Like, I thought you could make your own Lightning page layout as like a little layout, which I think this is the hack sort of how you would do that,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't just, it's the existing page layout in a component, like I
Yeah.
thought you would be able to design
Yeah.
little components with, like a field split in a component. So,
Which makes me think now, instead of if I put those in a tab, if I had those on a component, could I filter it? Because there's constantly, I have little asks for, I just want these fields to show up when X. And I'm like, it doesn't really work like that. But you could, if I'm thinking this through, and I'd have to go look at the component, if I could filter that and I made it its own component, not in a tab as a related record with a filter, then I could definitely say, if this stage is this, then show this related record, even though it's the fields, it's part of the
with the
same.
component visibility,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
So I was like, "What? This was amazing." So, yeah, I thought it was they're really cool. I've been having a lot of anxiety about this client. The colleague of mine is really thorough, like really thorough, and I am mostly thorough, and like really big shoes to fill, 2 calls a week, 9 phases. We've already been with him for 2 years,
Oh,
so I've had a little anxiety of like, holy crap, why did they ask me to do this? Like, are you sure? There's people that have been there at Arcus longer. And of course, I only shared this with one person, and they were like, no, you
and
got
now on
this.
the
So,
podcast, so now
I've
with
read
everybody.
through,
Just kidding.
well, yes. Yes. So now I'm like, I think I'm up to speed. And I told them, like, hey, when I answered from the hip, well, not really from the hip, I answered as I knew it. I followed back up and was like, hey, I see what you mean now. Sorry for my missteps. We talked today, and they asked if I had any questions, and I was like, no, but if you just might be prepared for a couple, oh, nope, that's not what I meant
Well, and I
emails,
think too that there's a certain amount of, that's why people like Amber and other wonderful humans talk about documentation, because there's certain amounts of things you assume everyone knows or is on the same page about, and maybe that's just in your own head, right? So, but I also think
Yeah.
I can see the value in being with a client for a long time and understanding the ins and outs, so that it feels more like an in-house person. But I also can see the value of getting a fresh perspective, right? Of maybe there's things
Yeah.
that they don't know that you saw at DX, or
Sure.
there's different approaches to like literally everything in Salesforce, right? So,
Yeah.
so I think.
So the coolest thing about this now is we have some cool custom dev, and it directly relates to like 3 clients. So I'm like pinging the developer, "Hi, could we do this in this one?" "Sure, do a user story." And I was like, "Ooh, what about this part? Could we do this in this client?" He's like, "Sure, user story." So today I messaged him. I was like, "So could you just package everything? Like everything you've done here, I could use this like for 3 other clients. Could you
That's
package
hilarious.
that?" He was like, "Sure." I mean, he's done such a great job. And it's funny, and it's probably a lot like the kind of clients we work with. I have like 3 clients right now in education, 3 clients that are like nonprofit. So they probably follow in the same vector. But it's funny how someone's like, I need it to do this and I need to search this. And I mean, my light bulbs and bells and whistles going off in my head. And I was like, oh my God, I have a solution. He made this. So it's going to be great. And my developer or our developer is going to be quite busy. That's what he
Mm-hmm.
gets for making cool stuff.
Ideas. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah, he got requirements from some smart person, and then he made cool things for
Yeah.
them, and now everyone can use that. I
It's
mean, not that
really, really cool.
developers
He's
can't just invent stuff, but I doubt he's just like sitting around
literally.
like, what cool thing can I make for these
Yeah.
people today? Um, so we can start our featured tweet with, featuring my own tweet. Uh,
Do it.
um,
Do it.
so the thing I learned this week, I tweeted about how like I get by with a little help from my friends. And
Mm-hmm.
this last week specifically, it was my developer friends, and I learned about event-driven integration methodology. Have you heard of
Event
PubSub?
driven. Uh-uh.
Mm.
Is that a
So
dog? Is that a breed?
PubSub, nope, it's not a sandwich. It is basically a publisher who does something interesting that then publishes to an event bus, which I cannot help but imagine in my mind is an actual school bus, even though it is not. And then you have
Always.
subscribers,
It's the magic event
subscribers
bus.
like MuleSoft in my case, or other external systems that are listening for certain things, certain types of events to happen, and then they pick up the ones they need and do stuff with them. So instead of the external system having to be like, hey, did you do my thing? Hey, did you do my thing? Hey, did you do my thing? They can just subscribe to the event bus, and then as they're just listening, and then when Salesforce in this case does a thing, it's like, hey, I did a purple thing, and then people on the bus are like, yeah, I like purple, I need that, and so they can all take it, and then after that, then it expires. Does that kind of make sense?
Interesting. So how
So
did you use it?
so we have an Oracle database that's our legacy um, system of record. And so we use MuleSoft. And so today we go point to point. So we literally, something happens, we call an endpoint and deliver that message. But the concern is that we're now, first of all, we're starting to do this for more things. And also, we're starting to do two-way updates. So right now, Salesforce is, for the most part, is just getting updates. But now we're going to offer a way for partner users to update things that need to get back. And so, as well as the volume of new things we need to send them. So, we were looking for something that would be more dynamic. So, the advantage of the PubSub methodology is that it's a queue, right? Which is again why I can't help thinking of a bus. Like you put something on the bus and it
Yeah.
lines up in line, and so that way, let's say MuleSoft is down for a moment or the other system isn't receiving is down, then the things will just queue up in the event bus. And so then when it comes back up, it starts where it left off and it processes a certain amount of things per hour, blah, blah, blah. There's limits to everything. But yeah, so like let's say you have something that happens on new records and updates, care about the new records, but only two systems care about the updates. So they're listening on those different channels for those events to be published and they're subscribed to them. So my other fun takeaway from this, I
Huh.
really feel like in the future, I want to partner with somebody, a developer. And I feel like we could have a session about analogies we use to explain Salesforce concepts. because I literally, in talking to Stephen Herod and to Kevin Poorman, I got about 4 different flavors of explanation, right? I'm talking to Stephen while he's in an airport having breakfast, and he's like, so because there's different ways you can get things onto the event bus. So if you've heard of platform events or change data capture events is the other one, CDC. So what he said was,
Mm.
it was right.
Sounds like a
It
disease.
was really interesting of like, okay, so you can either know that I ordered breakfast because my server put an order in the system and I paid for it and it tells you exactly what I ordered, or you can discern that I ordered breakfast because there's 2 eggs and some bacon and some bread missing, and therefore, like, so it kind of gets you the same place, right? So see, so
Huh.
it's
Like an
yeah,
inventory
and
is
even
missing?
so
That's
then and with
interesting.
the other pub sub concept in general, Kevin Portman's example was like a kiddie pool. And so like there's parents around the pool, and then think of like a herald that announces that they're putting a new kid in the pool, and you certain parents need to pay attention to that kid and certain parents don't care. And so then they have to start watching, they're watching for that kid or that type of kid because it's their kid or it's their step kid. Yeah, and I was like, can I put a monkey in the pool? And he's like, "No, you can only put kids in the pool."
You really
So
need
like
all parents to care.
it was just really interesting to yeah, because I'm like being an architect basically, right? And having to give guidance on these concepts and it's like, "Well, what can Salesforce do?" And I'm like, "I'll get back to you." So
Fun.
to be able
Yeah.
yeah, right. And I think it's really helpful. Like we talk a lot about Legos in Salesforce, right? In terms of even internally that like my manager, my favorite one that she does is like, okay, so you can go and buy the Death Star Lego set and have a Death Star, or like you can tell me you want a Death Star and I have
Yeah.
someone who can put all the Legos together and make a Death Star with like random general Legos. Right? That's like her app exchange out of the box versus like um, custom development kind of idea. And then like even if you buy the Death Star set, like you can still customize stuff on it, but like you started from something. I can't build you a princess cancel, you know.
I mean, you could from Legos. That's a really, for me, that's a bad analogy because I have like a Lego store downstairs.
Yes, but not with just the Death Star set. You probably
This is
couldn't
fair.
build a whole princess castle.
This is true. I feel like who
So,
else is really good at analogies? I feel like Sam Safin's really good at, like when we were talking about flows. She's like, okay, you need to put it over here, and then we're gonna go get it later. Just put it in this holding thing. Just leave it there. Then we're gonna come back and get it, or something like that. And I was like, this makes so much more sense. Just really
well,
good at that.
the one I came up with about MuleSoft was like I physically picture a mule picking stuff up and carrying it back and forth. But also with we have a twice daily feed that comes in through the bulk data API. And my analogy was that it's smart enough to understand that it dropped off all the groceries on the counter and that it's done dropping them off. But that doesn't mean that Salesforce is done unpacking them into the fridge. And Salesforce, we don't know that what's in those bags is correct. Like there might be a bag of rotten apples in there.
Mm,
So like I can't let MuleSoft be the one to say that all the groceries are unpacked because MuleSoft only knows that they were all delivered. So if your bag was last and the mule says that they're done, and I go to the fridge, maybe my food isn't in there yet because my bag was last and it's still on the counter. So that's why Salesforce needs to be the one to say that it's done unpacking the groceries because MuleSoft doesn't know that. It just knows it's done delivering them.
I like it.
So yeah, that was my other. That's why we had to build an entire bulk monitoring tool. So the mule says, "Okay, I'm done. Bye." And then of course my things are like, and then so maybe the mule takes a nap. And then we built Salesforce to say, okay, usually it only takes you 2 hours to do this, but now it's been 2.5 hours, so you probably took a nap. So I'm going to reach out and let everyone know that you're a slacker. And, some records will fail due to validation rules, and those are your rotten apples. And so we
Oh.
built a threshold of how much rotten food we allow, because when you're dealing with tens of thousands of records, you can't expect that it's 100% correct. So you've got a threshold. So it was
Yeah, but
interesting,
I
and for me,
would
learning about all
assume
that
it's
too.
correct.
Well, you would hope it's correct, but are you going to prevent the entire job if you've got 2% failure on 200,000 records?
True. Just like you would
So,
assume, like, this is supposed to be.
well, yes, it would be great in utopia, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but again, finding the errors through those jobs is not necessarily easy either. So yeah, so I've been doing more Devi-ish things,
I
and
like it.
yeah, it's worked
I
out
took
well.
the
So
time to watch NPSP certification videos while my kiddo was at gymnastics today.
yeah,
I'm like, look at me. Look at me doing stuff and things.
what else has been going on?
I'm trying to still make sure that I am moving forward in learning. I think I said last episode that I want to do NPSP cert and the community cert this year. Um, and I think I'm in a good place now. So even though I was feeling all anxiety about this big client, I had my first meeting. It's fine. Like I'm in a good place. And a lot of the work this phase is development work anyways. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to still stay in forward motion on that, but it's hard to say I'm going to give an hour of my day to learn something for a certification when I could be booking time
Yeah,
instead,
I had
billable
to.
hours. But like gymnastics was perfect for that because
Right.
like I need to be there and I can't I could work, but I could also watch a video and just tune out all the kids yelling.
I had to miss my certification day because we ended up having a deployment that got moved to that day. So I'm working on the community cloud cert, but I've also sort of been cocky about it, and I do community cloud all day. So a little more time to
Yep.
research. Well, to be fair, when I booked it, it was one of those like, okay, I'm at Salesforce Saturday and I'm saying I'm going to do this. So boop, 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 boop. I'm going to go book it right now
Yeah.
so that I don't come next month and have done nothing.
Mhm.
But then it was like, oh, that's next week. Haha, maybe I should, But I did get Phil Weinmeister's book that I started going through, which has been a good reinforcement. And I live in the community editor pretty much every day. So
Yep. You'll crush it for sure. And,
no.
it couldn't hurt to study a little. So the other thing, I do have a fun website of websites that I can post in the show notes. Okay, before I get to the one I really want to talk about. So it was BuzzFeed put out a list of 38 helpful websites.
Ooh, okay.
And so Josh sends them to me sitting on the couch. He's like, you got to look at number 6. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Number 6 about what? So like how many people are in space right now? And it has the website for you can see how many planes are in the air right now, which
Mm.
is super insane. Okay, but one of my favorites is called What the Fuck Do I Make for Dinner?
Stop.
It is very simple. Very simple. That is what the fuck do I make for dinner.com. And it says here, you can see, nobody else can see. It says, eat some fucking, and then it says smothered pork chops and mushroom sauce. And then if you click on it, it'll give you the recipe. Beneath it, it says, I don't fucking like that, or I don't fucking eat meat. And you click one of those. Like if I click, I don't fucking eat
And
meat.
it'll get you
It
another
says,
one.
try some fucking avocado lettuce wraps. Same thing. I don't fucking like that. I'm not a fucking vegetarian. It just gives you recipes. And it kills me so much. Oh my God, it should not be as funny as it is to me, but I really love it.
I mean,
but I'll put this out there. I mean, it's fun. This whole thing is fun.
considering there's one called Is It Dark Outside? I feel like it's like literally yes, no.
There is a website called Is It Christmas? Period. Yes or no. It's so silly that it makes me laugh this hard. But then some of them are like
Ooh.
really kind of cool. Wireless passwords at all airports.
My fridge
Um,
food.
oh yeah, isn't that smart? This is what's in my
It'll
fridge. What can I
suggest a meal
make?
you can make.
Cost of living comparison, sure. How long will it take to read something, which is, great for people like
Down for
me.
everyone or just me? You can put in a website and it will tell you if it's just you and the website is up or if it's down. Maybe that's helpful for Salesforce.
Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, another website of websites
Ooh,
can't
one
be
of
that
my
fun.
favorite sites is on here.
But they have one called GeoGuessr.
My
What is it?
favorite one is Sleepy Time. It's sleepyti.me. And the idea is that you have a certain, like with circadian rhythms, there's certain
Mm-hmm.
times that you should wake up.
Sure.
So you can either say when you need to wake up and it'll tell you when you go to bed, or what I do when I go to bed is I say, when should I wake up? And so then that's when I set my alarm for.
That's perfect. I
If
love that's
it's
like the
like,
90-minute break cycles I don't try to do,
yes.
or 90-minute cycles I try not to break. Wow, that was like a word jumble. I put all the words in a sentence, just not in the right order.
Okay, I have to stop doing this
The
because
last one I really like is the GeoGuessr. It just shows you a picture of like a city and a street, and it's like, guess where it's at. So funny.
I think my last favorite one that I will say from this list is Does the Dog Die? And you put in
Oh,
a
in the
movie
movies?
title and it
Yeah.
tells you if the dog dies or not. Because that's
I
important.
mean, that's a thing. It is. So
Depending on what kind of mood you're in.
I will post that in the show notes because it's lots of fun. But what I really wanted to talk about, so my daughter goes to school with this little boy, and I got to know his mom pretty well in the last 2 years. And she is kind of a BFD. She's a comedian. She's from Chicago, actually, lives here. And she has been a musician and a comedian for many years. So in the last handful of years, her best friend, or whatever, they do a podcast, but first they do something called the Pump and Dump Show. So it is a comedy music show about being a mom and like the craziness of it, and it's just hilarious. And then so it's called Mom's Night Out. So they invite moms to come to the show. It's funny, it's hilarious, there's music. And then they have a dance party at whatever venue bar. They have a DJ and they let women just drink and dance for like 2 hours because they're like, you're not just coming to the show, you got a night out. Like you're going to hang out. So she is hysterical. She's a wonderful human. Her name is Shayna Firm. And so I've been listening to her podcast, and they have just women on there. My favorite thing that they do is they'll have episodes that have titles, but every once in a while, just these two women will be like, please explain skincare to me, or please explain an Enneagram, or can we please stop saying self-care? It's just hilarious. So she did an episode recently with a woman called Lynn Bodner, who, uh, had 3 kids. She's 43. Everything's awesome. Husband had a vasectomy, and oops, it didn't work. So now she's pregnant at 43, and kind of, what that means to her. But she went in to talk about making a joy list. And right now, I can't remember off the top of my head the number. Let's just say it's 6. So she makes a list of 6 things that cost money that bring you joy: getting a pedicure, getting a massage, going to a nice dinner, and 6 things that don't cost money that bring you joy. Sing along in the car with your kid, sunsets, or, whatever it is. And she said that it's nice to have these too. So if you have a little extra money and you need to remember, you're having a down moment, you're having an overwhelm moment, or you're
Mm-hmm.
having like, I just don't be like, I just feel off, like hit your joy list. Or the thing that I loved most about it was the joy list part about like the stuff that doesn't cost money, because then you're kind of more cognizant of it. If I say my joy list is snuggling with Olive at night, we like turn on her music and we lay in bed and I ask her, how her day was or her favorite part of the day, or we do like 4 deep breaths and I give her little nose kisses. Like that's important to me. And those are joy. So you are a little bit more cognizant of being like, this is my joyful moment, to kind of add to your emotional bank account. And I mean, this was a while ago, but I texted you and I was like, oh my gosh, you would love this, like a joy list. We need to make a joy list. And I'm sure it's ever evolving, but I think it's nice too. Like, and it's probably great for someone was like, if someone or your spouse or your partner or whomever was like, hey, I want to give you a night off, or I want to get you a little something or whatever, then you can, instead of sometimes when you're called to the carpet, you're like, what do I like? I don't know. Can I have nuggets? But like, oh yeah, I forgot. I really enjoy a
Look on
pedicure.
Pinterest.
Yeah, I don't know. So I thought that was something that was really cool. I think I'm going to attempt to do that, especially the non-costing
Yeah.
things, since I feel like all I do is spend money anymore. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. I can see that. But no, I like the idea of the balance. I think for talked about like you kind of get into the shame. I kind of get into the shame spiral, right? Like when you're feeling off, and then it's like, and my house is a mess, and I'm fat, and blah blah blah. And I'm definitely doing better about like recognizing that I'm being ridiculous at that moment, but to have like a good reminder of things that can help get me out of it. Those like joyful, like literally,
Yeah.
yeah, like snuggles. You can just start demanding snuggles.
Well, yeah, and just like when you're not give me Axel, get over here right now. Um, just the little things. I mean, you're just feeling like in a
I was
funk.
thinking more Brad, but Axel works
Oh,
too.
well, yes, this is true. But you get in a funk
Yeah.
too. Like, I think it's easy, and we have said it before, and shout out to all my working from home friends. Sometimes you don't know what feels off, and I think a lot is just being separated from humans. But I don't want to try and work in a cafe or bar. That doesn't make sense. I need to focus. I need to concentrate. I don't want to schlep all my stuff somewhere. I don't want to try and be on the phone all day in a public environment. That doesn't make sense. So a lot of times you're just not, there's no break. There's like, uh, especially if you don't like maybe tie one on the weekend or go anywhere, the days tend to kind of run together, which, side note is probably great for seasons and I can figure out what the time of year it is. But having the joy list when you're like, I just feel a little off, you're like, oh, fuck, like I haven't done something for me, or I haven't seen another human besides pick up and drop off in a while. Like maybe I need to go to a yoga class, or I need to work for half my afternoon on a Friday at a brewery where I can just, be around people. So yeah, it's good to remember that sometimes when you feel off, that you're not broken. You just maybe need a thing, need a piece of joy.
I think, I think it's tough for you also because Josh doesn't work like a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, so that doesn't help you with like knowing what day of the week it is in general.
Yeah, it's like
But
Friday all the time when
also,
he's home.
I've thought about, I've thought about having this kind of a list, but with people in my life that I want to remember to
Oh,
follow up with, which sounds very like managing my friends like a business. In my
so
mind, I've designed this, of course, right? With like magnets with people's name on them that are like along the side of a board, and to then like reach out to them and then like cycle them to the bottom. Because I think a lot of times, actually being here in Texas, I was able to see one of my best friends for like 6 hours, and like 4 of those hours were kid-free hours, which like never happens. And so it was just really great, and she's just such a wonderful friend that I in the end I see once or twice a year, but um in the scheme of things, when we talk, it's great. It's never like a problem, and you have
yeah,
certain friends like that. But I think it's helpful to, I've been trying to be better about like, you're on my mind.
yeah,
You came into my mind. How are you? And then I think like those kind of random things help someone feel comfortable saying to you like, actually, I'm pretty shitty right now,
mm-hmm.
like um more than just when you see them, when you happen to run into them out somewhere. So maybe that's just my
I try and do that. I
saying my
think
joy list is people.
no, I agree. Like if I think of someone, I try and send them a text, but you and I are the same, very ADHD, that I will forget whilst picking up my phone because I'll see a notification for something, do two things, and then set it down and walk away and not remember that I picked up my phone to text, my friend in Seattle that I was thinking about her or whatever. So I think a board with magnets
Yeah,
is
well, and
brilliant.
especially just with
What's your super fave?
oh, hi. What's my super fave?
Oh, sorry. That was a
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
cut.
No, you're
Sorry.
right. Yes.
I don't have to hard cut like
I
that if you
like
want
your
to
idea,
finish
and
your
now we're
sentence.
moving on. No, I think it's especially good for friends that you aren't going to see.
Blah, 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 bored, moving on.
That are like
Totally.
in different countries, cities, whatever it might be, that maybe you're not going to run into them, but like you might see something that reminds you of them. Anyway, so we're trying to be more thoughtful. What is my super fave? Today, my super fave is Texas beer. I had a great experience the other day at a place called Fire Ant Brewing in Tomball, Texas. And I'm currently enjoying a St. Arnold, which is Texas's largest microbrewery that we actually are own shares of or partial owners of or bought into or whatever it might be. So, yeah, I'm down with a good craft beer in general, but I'm
Cool.
excited to see more fun Texas options. My brother and I got to go have a flight and try something new, and it was fun. How about you?
Very cool. Kind of along the lines we were talking about before, I actually went back to a gym.
Mm.
I've been working out from home for about 2.5 years. I went back to a CrossFit gym. I giggle because I forgot
Isn't
how
it
hard
called a
it
box?
is. It's so hard. It can be called a box. Yes, it is a box. So I have been chatting with one of the dads. His daughter is very good friends with Olive, and he really likes this place. And I just happened to ask the other day, like, where is it? And it's a mile from my house because that's critical. Like, if it's not close, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to allot like a 15-minute drive
Mm-mm.
time. Like, GTFO, I'm not doing that. So I feel like with my home workouts, I'm kind of over it. I feel like I've plateaued, like where I'm sore, but I'm not seeing any results anymore. And so I decided to go back. And it's good too for the fact that, again, I'm not always going to work outside the home. I know my therapist has said to try and do that once a week, but especially with like the weather starting to turn,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do that. So this is a really good way for me just to get out and be around humans. It's good. I'm only 2 weeks in, but I keep telling people that I feel like the rock guy in Neverending Story. Like, I work out, I feel strong, and then I get to CrossFit and I was like, they look like such strong hands. They used to be such strong hands. And it's hard. And there is running, but that's why I'm there. Like, I have gone to break a threshold, to be around people, for it to be hard, to see results. So I'm back in doing that thing. I am liking it. There's always that amount of anticipation, I guess, when you walk in and you see what's written on the board for the
That
day.
I'm
Like, what
paying
fresh hell
for.
am I in store for today? Um, yeah, like there was like a whole day of like pull-ups and double unders with the jump rope. And I was like, I know. I mean, I did single and I do things like that are equal to it to get my workout in. But like, I'm not going to the CrossFit games. I'm not going to state for CrossFit. I don't give a shit if I can do double unders. I don't care about muscle ups, which are like with the rings. I don't care about that. Pull ups, yes. I'd
I
like
could
to be
not.
able to do
Mm-hmm.
a couple. I'd like to know if I was hanging from a building. I could save myself. These are important things. But yeah, some of the stuff, I won't lie, they're weird. Like some stuff I don't care. Like I don't know. I just don't need to do a double
Saw
under.
box jumps.
Those are scary. I have a scar from those in California. Yeah. I did a
Mm.
box jump and was tired and we were doing like this thing and I ate shit on it and bled and tried not to cry in CrossFit. I was like,
There's no crying in
yeah.
CrossFit.
So, I mean, I do like it. I just that it is hard and it's early. Like if Josh is home, I'll hit the 6 a.m. class because then it's done and it's not a part of my day and I can focus on work. I do love being tired and I do love getting it done and I do love the challenge, but there are times too where I'm very, um, I have a problem with authority. So when they're doing a bunch of workouts that I think are bullshit, I totally sandbag. Like, I don't care. I don't care about double unders. I don't care to like hoist myself up on 2 rings. I don't give a shit about it.
I have a problem with
I do.
authority.
I do. So, but yeah, overall, it's a super fave.
Rage against the CrossFit machine. Yeah. No, that's great for you.
Yes. Uh,
Um, I've been trying to think of what my other super fave is right now. I mean, not being at work for a few days has been
yeah,
nice.
that's always nice.
Not gonna
I don't really have a
lie.
big
I
one, but
mean,
I don't know if you saw recently, Stacy and Yancey got engaged. And she asked for my address, and she sent me a link from Postable. Have you heard of Postable?
Okay.
It's an
No.
address collection, but in a tech way. And I was like, why is that so smart? I was like, that is brilliant.
Oh, I think Becca Dentes or somebody does Christmas cards, like a much more adulty adult than me, that has collected
That's so
information for me
smart.
in such a
Instead of
way.
like a spreadsheet or email me your address and I put it somewhere. I love it.
I mean, build a Salesforce org, girl.
I mean, a dev org.
Yeah, build a nice community page.
Get it on the event bus. It's going to be awesome.
Pub sub.
Pub sub. I love you. You know that?
I do. Thank you for your patience with my life nonsense. I'm happy we could
Always
connect and people could listen to it. And I hope that you enjoy the beginning of fall, even though it's 90 degrees outside, and stay witty.